some of the St. John Street politicians, even though Woodrow grew up there, he became politically involved later in life. But some of the early St. John politicians were George Hyde, and I had the pleasure of going to school with her daughter Pearl. Of course, George Friday, Helen Harris, and Ollie Bivens Jr., who later became a circuit court judge. And there are probably many more. But you know, research and information on St. John is really so scarce, you know, and you have to rely on a lot of oral history in order to fill in some of those gaps. And looking at the city directories from 1935 to 1945, there were a number of churches that sprung up in the St. John Street area, including Blackwell A&E Church, which was located at 1234 Central Avenue, and that's of course now located on Sonny Avenue here in the city. The Macedonia Baptist Church was organized in 1935 on Hickory Street, and it's now located in Mountain West Township on North Saginaw Street. Christ the King Catholic Church held its very first services at the old St. Joseph Catholic Church on Hickory Street in the St. John Street area. And Father Duquette himself held those initial services. Then there was New Zion Church, which was located on both Hickory Street, later on St. John Street, and then on Nevada and Hewlett. It's now located on Chippewa Street. Vernon Chapel was located at 3512 St. John Street, and it's now located on DuPont Street. And the first African American Baptist church that we mentioned, Mount Olive, was instrumental in organizing Shiloh Baptist Church, which was organized in 1918 and stood on the corner of St. John and Massachusetts. And the other church of prominence was the Vermont Christian Church, which was of course located on Vermont Street, and is now located on Lippincott Boulevard. Now, you know, St. John Street was not without its negative side. Okay? I mean, in the midst of all of the closeness, the unselfishness, the profound relationships, the willingness to help each other along, there was a negative side, you know, because wherever there's money, there's vice, right? So, Michigan Avenue at one time became like a haven for prostitution. You know, at certain parts of St. John Street became hangouts for pimps and prostitutes. But the nightlife, both on St. John Street and its cousin across the track, Industrial Avenue, I mean, it was just boiling over with nightlife. You know, people would work hard. You know, at one time, African Americans could not work on the assembly line. You know, they were either janitors or assigned to the foundry. You know, so the work was hard, and at the end of the week, you wanted to shake off, you know, some of that tiredness. So they partied hard, you know, along with that, you know, you get some negativity. I can remember coming home from school. We had moved further north of St. John at the time, and I was walking near State Street in front of the 5 and Dime store, and there was a gentleman sitting there with blood pouring from his neck. with someone that just slit his throat, you know, and just, you know, that was one of the negatives that, you know, I always associate with the area. And also, on the negative side was, you know, the housing was not, you know, what we would consider standard housing today. Most of the housing was substandard. And, you know, when we inherited the housing stock, it was already in a deteriorating state. You know, during the 40s, you know, when there was that tidal wave of African Americans moving into the area, you know, sometimes you have 4 or 5 families living in the same house, in the same residence. You know, that's just the way it was because of the restrictions in other areas. You know, you either have to have a tenant or you live with somebody. And that's just the way it was. And of course, you know, the health of St. John Street residents was at risk every day, you know, because there weren't many EPA regulations, or not many EPA regulations enforced during that era. And the smoke from the foundry would just rain soot upon the residents of the St. John Street area. You know, if the wind decided to blow in a certain direction, watch out. You know, and I'm sure that there were many, many instances of COPD before the COPD, you know, became a popular term. It had the highest incidence of TB, tuberculosis, in the county. When I was a writer for the Flint Spokesman, which was a weekly newspaper, I had occasion to write an editorial wondering why the citizens of St. John Street did not file the class action suit against General Motors, you know, for all the damage the foundry had, you know, wreaked upon their property, their vehicles, and their health. Needless to say, it never happened. Then, of course, urban renewal came. And the city utilized its power of eminent domain to displace over 1,500 families. You know, and they tried to sugarcoat, you know, saying that demolition means progress. But nevertheless, they uprooted, displaced, and otherwise removed every family that resided in the St. John Street area. Every business that was up and running in the St. John Street area. You know, it was our own less bloody rendition of the Tulsa riots. You know, where a black community was just virtually bombed into non-existence. You know, people were disconnected. You know, just imagine the trauma of, you know, just leaving your familiar roots. You So what remains of St. John Street today, you know, just basically memories. They've had reunions. I think the first one was in 1976, where they had a reunion on the industrial park that was displacing the residents of St. John Street. And it was some of the council people at the time, Chester Simmons, Woody Ackley, I think your mother spoke here, Mrs. Roberts, and many others, past and many of the international residents of St. John Street. I want to give acknowledgments to some of the sources that I use. Michael Evanoff has written a book recounting his memories of the St. John Street area, and it's just called St. John Street Remembered. Bronze Pillars by Rhonda Sanders. Memoirs of St. John Street by Craig Hall. And Andrew Highsmith, who did a dissertation that mentioned the area considerably, called Demolition Means Progress. And I'm open to any questions.